Hey everyone, are you ready to find out what happens in chapter 2? Let's get into it then. Chapter 2 Stranger. Nora Lynn's POV. As I got ready for dinner, I thought about many things. First off, I didn't want my father to leave, especially not for 3 years. What would I do when he left? I know I have my duties to the business, sure, but I'd still miss him. I also thought about the new caretaker my father hired. He was very nice, even if we didn't talk much. I liked that he stayed by the water with me, even though most people would have left. I sighed to myself. All of my emotions and thoughts were running wild. Everything was stressful, and the next 3 years were going to be difficult. I checked the time, 5:45. Time for dinner. I went to the dining room where my father was waiting for me. On his left and across from where I sat, the new caretaker was sitting and talking with my father. Mako's POV. I was talking with Noralin's father when I heard her come in. We both looked over at her. Wow, I thought. Noralyn wore a dark blue dress that flattered her figure nicely, and she had her hair halfway pinned back, and the rest of her light waist fell down her back. She looked beautiful. I quit zoning out on her. I quit zoning out on her long enough to politely say, "It's nice to see you again, Miss Noralyn. You look very nice." She blushed, and I could hardly hear her speak. "Thank you, Mr. Tanami. You look nice as well." It wasn't much, but she said enough to make me blush. Her father laughed at our awkward greeting. "You kids are so formal. I take it you met earlier?" Noralyn nodded. "Mr. Tanami was kind enough to stay on the beach with me. He was very nice." Her father turned to me. "Well, I'm sure you've seen for yourself now just how quiet she can be. She's a good kid, though. I'm sure you'll get along just fine for the next few years." I smiled back at him, and Norman spoke up a little. "Father, when do you leave tomorrow?" The man's smile faded as he looked Norlin in the eye. "Actually, Princess, there's been a slight change of plans. I need to leave tonight. There's a storm coming in, and in order to leave safely, I need to leave before it arrives. I'll be leaving shortly, after dinner." At that, Norlin turned her head down a little, and her voice was shaky. I see. Well, I hope you have a safe trip. I'll miss you, Daddy." The rest of dinner was mostly silent. Nobody brought up the trip again, so Norlin wouldn't get upset. When it was time for her father to leave, the sky was gray and cloudy. It had started to rain, so he had to leave quickly. Norlin and I stood at the door with him. I shook his hand and assured him I would take care of his daughter. Norlin hugged him, with tears streaming down her pained face. She told her father how much she loved him and to call her the moment he was where he needed to be. After promising her, he left. Norlin went up to her room just as the thunder started. It was still too early to go to bed, and it was storming so badly by now that I couldn't swim outside either. I decided to walk around inside. As I wandered down the hallway, I heard sobbing. After each crash of thunder, I heard a muffled shriek and could tell that it was Nora Lynn. I knocked on her door. "Miss Nora Lynn, are you all right?" I heard a faint, "Come in," and I opened the door. I looked around, but I couldn't see anyone. Then, as another crash of thunder hit, I heard another sob coming from under a desk. I walked over to the desk and sat down. She had her knees up to her chest and her head buried in her arms. "Are you okay?" I asked her. She looked up slightly, her teary eyes already betraying the nod she was about to give. Then another crash of thunder sounded, and she buried her face again and trembled. "Scared of thunder, huh?" She nodded with her head still buried. I thought to myself for a minute before crouching on my knees. I know it might be weird since we just met, but I have a guitar down in my room. Music always helps me relax and feel better. Would you like me to play you something? Her shoulders stopped shaking from sobbing for a moment, and she looked up at me and nodded. I stood up and she took my hand. I helped her out from under the desk and walked her down to my room. I was going to let go, but she gripped my hand the entire time. I have to admit, I like her being close. When we reached my room, she sat on my bed and looked at me, waiting in anticipation. I sat next to her with a guitar and tuned it. As I started playing, I could feel her soft gaze on me. She had stopped crying for the most part, and after about 30 minutes of playing, she gently touched my hand. I stopped and looked over to her. "That's beautiful, but can you put the guitar down for a minute?" I nodded and put the guitar on its stand before sitting next to her again. "What's up? Are you feeling better?" She put her arms around me and pulled me into an embrace. Before I could think, I had placed my arms around her as well. Then I remember waking up with Norlin in my arms, smiling up at me. "Good morning, Mako." Her voice was still sleepy and adorable. I half smiled due to my sleepy state. "Good morning, Norlin." Then I moved my head down and kissed her forehead. Then as I realized what I did, I sat up quickly and looked at her. She rolled onto her back, still covered, but I could tell she was wearing clothes. I looked down. Phew! I was wearing clothes too. "Norlin, you, huh?" I didn't make any sense, but she giggled. She had such a cute giggle. Then she sat up and kissed my cheek. It's all right. Nothing happened. We just fell asleep, that's all. She giggled again. By the way, you talk an awful lot in your sleep. I couldn't help but notice she wasn't acting shy anymore. It must have been something I said in my sleep. Noralyn, first, sorry if kissing your forehead was weird. Second, what exactly did I say in my sleep? That's all for today, folks. But don't you guys worry. The next chapter will be coming to you very soon. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. Until next time, bye everyone.